October 6th, 1941. 6:20 hours, west of Vyazma, Soviet Union. Dawn bleeds slowly through low autumn fog. Wet earth clings to boots and tracks alike. Engines rumble, deep, confident, unstoppable. A column of T-34 tanks pushes forward, steel hulls ghosting through the mist, their wide tracks chewing the mud like it doesn't matter. Inside the lead tank, the air stinks of oil and sweat. The driver squints through a narrow slit as the commander stands half exposed in the turret, binoculars raised. He smiles. German shells have already bounced off them today. A crack. Another impact. Nothing. The rounds spark, skid, vanish. The crew laughs. Someone slaps the turret wall. They've heard the rumors. German anti-tank guns can't touch them. Too small, too weak. This machine is different. Sloped armor, wide tracks, a gun that kills from a distance. Ahead, abandoned Wehrmacht equipment burns quietly. A smashed Panzer III lies twisted in a ditch, its thin armor peeled open like a tin can. Proof, if any were needed, that this advance is inevitable. The radio crackles with static and triumph. Infantry follows behind, emboldened by the sight of invincible steel rolling ahead of them. Then the fog lifts, just a little. On a distant ridgeline, something tall and angular stands silhouetted against the pale morning sky. Too large for an anti-tank gun, too deliberate to be debris. A metallic clank echoes as the T-34 halts. The commander frowns. Far away, unseen hands adjust elevation wheels. A long barrel lowers by a single precise degree. No one in the tank has ever seen this weapon used like this before. The world holds its breath. A thunderous crack tears the morning apart. The shell arrives before the sound. A blinding flash slams into the T-34's front glacis. Steel screams. The impact is nothing like before. No spark, no ricochet. This time the armor buckles inward, molten metal spraying the fighting compartment in a violent, white-hot burst. The tank shudders, then stops. Inside, the laughter is gone. The commander collapses, binoculars shattered, blood streaking the turret ring. The driver's hands freeze on the levers as smoke floods the compartment, choking, acrid, alive. For the first time since the invasion began, a T-34 has been pierced from the front. Outside, Soviet infantry stare in disbelief. They had seen German guns fail again and again. They had marched behind these tanks as if behind a moving fortress. Now, the fortress is burning. Another crack, deeper, heavier. A second T-34 explodes in a blossom of flame, its turret torn loose and thrown aside like a child's toy. The shockwave flattens nearby men into the mud. Panic ripples down the column. Tank commanders shout, radios scream, turrets swing wildly, searching for an enemy they still don't understand. On the ridgeline, the weapon stands unmoving. An 8.8-centimeter Flak 18, its long barrel smoking gently. Designed to kill bombers 6 kilometers above the earth, it now points horizontally, aimed at steel instead of sky. German gunners move with calm efficiency. Elevation set, fuse checked. Another round rammed home. The gun's shield rattles as it fires again. A third T-34 dies. Soviet crews try to reverse, but the mud grips their tracks. Engines howl, drivers curse. The confidence of hours ago evaporates in seconds. This is not a flaw, not bad luck. This is something new. And somewhere behind the line, a Soviet battalion commander realizes the unthinkable. The T-34 is not untouchable anymore. The German gunners do not celebrate. They reload. Hands blackened with grease and cordite work the heavy shell into the breech. The steel casing slides home with a dull, final sound. The commander leans in, eyes narrowed, voice low and controlled. He is a Luftwaffe officer by training, an anti-aircraft man forced into a ground war he was never meant to fight. Yet here he stands, watching Soviet armor burn. The Flak 18 was never designed for this. Its tall, cruciform mount leaves it exposed. Its silhouette is impossible to hide. Against infantry, it is a death sentence for its own crew. But against tanks, against these tanks, it is perfect. Across the field, surviving T-34s attempt to maneuver. Turrets swing, 76mm guns barking back toward the ridgeline. Shells land close, too close. Dirt rains down on the gun shield. One near miss knocks a loader to the ground, ears ringing, vision blurred. Feuer! The 88 fires again. Another Soviet tank is punched clean through. Entry hole neat, exit catastrophic. Ammunition cooks off inside. A tank becomes a furnace, black smoke rolling skyward like a signal flare. German infantry watch from foxholes in stunned silence. Weeks ago, they had fled from these machines, their Panzerjäger weapons useless, their morale cracking under unstoppable steel. Now, for the first time since Barbarossa began, they see a T-34 die at long range. Word spreads fast. Messengers run. Radios crackle. Somewhere behind the lines, an army commander listens carefully as a report comes in. Unbelievable, almost heretical, an anti-aircraft gun has stopped the Soviet advance. Not by chance, not once, but again and again. The realization settles like a weight. If this weapon can kill a T-34, then the battlefield has just changed, and both sides are about to race to adapt, faster than ever before. The news moves faster than the tanks ever could. By nightfall, reports of the 88 reach division and corps headquarters. Handwritten notes pass from staff officer to staff officer. Maps are redrawn. New instructions are whispered, then spoken aloud. Bring the flak guns forward. Across the Eastern Front, Luftwaffe batteries are stripped from airfields and rear areas. Tall, ungainly guns meant to stare at the heavens are dragged through mud and snow, horses straining, half-tracks grinding, crews cursing the weight of salvation. German doctrine shifts in real time. Flak crews dig shallow pits. They lower the barrels. They wait. The Red Army does not notice at first. Why would they? The T-34 has crushed everything thrown at it so far. German 37mm guns still shatter uselessly. Panzer III crews still die trying to flank. Soviet commanders push harder, faster, convinced the enemy is on the brink. Then it happens again, and again. At Mitsensk, outside Kalinin, along the approaches to Moscow, T-34s erupt at distances that feel impossible. Crews bail out screaming, uniforms aflame. Columns halt mid-advance, trapped by unseen fire. Confusion replaces momentum. Inside Soviet headquarters, disbelief hardens into anger. Engineers argue. Armor officers demand answers. The tank has not failed, they insist. The enemy has cheated. Captured German equipment tells the story. A long barrel, massive breech, shells longer than a man's forearm, the same gun every time. An anti-aircraft weapon repurposed with brutal clarity. But the 88 has a weakness. It is deadly, yet vulnerable. Slow to move, exposed to artillery, infantry, and aircraft. If the Red Army can reach it, it can be destroyed. The solution, Soviet commanders decide, is simple. Get closer, faster, harder. And in doing so, they will drive straight into the most dangerous phase of this new war of adaptation. Winter creeps in early. Frost coats the wrecks of burned-out tanks, turning twisted steel white and silent. Soviet crews adapt quickly because survival demands it. Tank commanders are ordered to advance in tighter coordination with infantry. Artillery barrages precede armored thrusts. Recon patrols hunt for the telltale shape of the 88 before the tanks roll. Closer, always closer. When a flat gun is found, the response is immediate and violent. Mortar rounds rain down. Riflemen rush the position, bullets snapping through the thin gun shield. Crews fight back desperately, pistols and carbines against a rising tide of men. Sometimes the gun fires once more. Sometimes it doesn't. German commanders see the pattern too. The 88 cannot stand alone. It needs protection. Machine guns are added, infantry dug in around it, mines laid in arcs before the position. The battlefield becomes a chessboard of adaptation. For the first time, Soviet tankers hesitate before cresting ridgelines. Confidence has been replaced by calculation. They angle armor carefully, zigzag their approach, fire on suspected positions even when nothing is visible. The myth is dead, but the machine lives on. Deep inside German design bureaus, engineers listen closely to frontline reports. The lesson is unmistakable. If a gun can kill a T-34 at long range, then future tanks must carry that power with them. Long barrels appear on drafting tables. Thicker armor follows. Names begin to circulate quietly. Tiger, Panther, machines born from fear and necessity. On the front, a Soviet tank commander watches smoke rise from another destroyed vehicle. He grips the turret rim, jaw tight, understanding now what this war demands. Not invincibility, adaptation. And as both sides race to outthink and outgun each other, the Eastern Front becomes something far deadlier than before, a proving ground for the future of armored warfare. By December 1941, the ground itself seems to resist movement. Snow smothers the battlefield. Engines tough in the cold. Metal contracts, cracks, groans. The war has slowed, but it has not paused. The 88 still stands in frozen fields, its crews wrapped in greatcoats, breath fogging the air as they wait. It is no longer a surprise weapon now. Soviet artillery searches for it relentlessly. Infantry probes every tree line. The Red Army has learned where death might be hiding. And yet, when the gun fires, it still kills. At long range, with finality. The T-34 continues to fight, continues to dominate much of the battlefield, but never again with blind confidence. Crews no longer laugh when shells strike their armor. Every impact is a question now, every ridgeline a risk. What was once untouchable has become mortal. The Germans, too, have learned their lesson. The 88 is not enough. It is a stopgap, a bridge between eras. From its success comes a new philosophy. Armor and firepower must evolve together or die together. Years later, when massive German tanks roll onto the battlefield with long guns and thick steel, their lineage is clear. They are echoes of this moment, of a morning when an anti-aircraft gun shattered a myth. And somewhere beneath the snow, burned-out hulls of T-34s and shattered flak guns lie side by side, silent witnesses to a brutal truth of war. There is no perfect weapon, only those that survive long enough to teach the next one how to kill. On the Eastern Front in 1941, steel learned that lesson the hard way.